Hello, my name is Alana and I am from the equality sector of our youth organization YAF, Youth Action for the Future, where we strive to educate youth on things happening in our world. Today I will be talking about women's rights in the Middle East. The Middle East and Northern Africa, aka MENA, have the lowest rank in the global gender index and not ranking much better regarding other things such as education, health, and economical and political participation. In a lot of the countries in the Middle East, there's a strict dress code that women must comply with, mandatory gender segregation, and in Saudi Arabia, there is a past ban on women driving, which had proven to be a horrible thing because of the domestic abuse statistics for Saudi Arabia. According to the National Institute of Health, 1 in 3 women in Saudi Arabia have experienced domestic violence. If women are unable to drive cars, this eliminates one way that a woman can escape from an abusive relationship, which would be by the victim driving to somewhere far away from the abuser. Having said this, in 2020, Saudi Arabia was actually voted as the Middle East's best country for women. I think that speaks for itself. In the Middle East, women are denied most forms of self-expression. For example, Ayasel Slay was a black girl who happened to have the same hometown as a religiously important place to Muslims, Mecca, where Islam was first created. In her first video, she talks about the girls of Mecca, claiming they are sugar candy, whilst girls dance in the background of her video. She faced prosecution as authorities found it offensive, and she was bombarded with racist and hateful comments on the music video, all because the girl said she was from Mecca. And if you don't understand, she's a black girl, and she's in a Middle Eastern country, and she's saying that she's from Mecca. So a lot of people were like, oh, no you're not, go back to your country, stuff like that. So yeah. However, this video is not to drag on Saudi Arabia. Prince Mohammed bin Salman has been working on the issue of gender inequality. In fact, he was the first one who lifted the ban on women driving cars in 2018. Not only this, but the ban on strict dress regulations was lifted in Saudi Arabia. However, there are still many problems in the Middle East regarding women's rights. In the Middle East, it is a very religion-focused place. Women are to wear hijabs if they are to go outside. In recent news, the brave women of Iran have decided to protest by taking off their hijabs and walking the streets, filming and taking photos. Now, these women aren't just going to get a ticket and get told to go back home. No, these women are going to get harassed, banned from government offices, public transport, and banks. The reason for these protests is to show how much the women of Iran want freedom. Another reason was the unjust arrest of Mahsa Amini, who was killed in police custody. So you may still be wondering why women's rights in the Middle East are even such a big deal. Which I hope not, because, it's kind of weird. But the reason is because of how many people have a lack of rights and resources. Women and the MENA take up almost half of the population of these places, around 49 to 50%. That means that half of the Middle East is threatened by these unjust policies and laws. How on earth will we have an equal world if a specific group of people is in danger and actively being discriminated against? Well, what can we even do to help these women? We can make this into a more well-known problem. Sure, a lot of people are aware of women's rights problem in the Middle East, but they are not aware of the severity of it, about the domestic abuse rates, and how nothing is done about the abusers because it is their supposed God-given right to do what they wish to women. The biggest problem in this is the Taliban. They play a major role in this. Women are losing access to education, employment, and many other things. The Taliban is stripping women out of their rights. Women who have spoken out about this to the Taliban and the Middle East have been attacked. A very well-known example of this would be Malala Yousafzai. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. A very well-known example of this would be Malala. Malala is an education activist for women in the Middle East. She was shot in the face in Pakistan at 15 in 2012 for speaking out about unjust laws regarding education for young women. The Taliban targeted her specifically. She has since been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize and has started the Malala Fund, a foundation that provides an education program to young girls. The Taliban is extremely conservative and has stopped at nothing to put women down, where they believe they belong. Malala is a good example of what we should be doing. Now, I'm not saying to create a foundation, I simply want to point out how good of a role leader Malala is. What we can do is increase the funding for women's rights, encourage others to speak out about this issue, and continue to give proper education to women and young girls. Unfortunately, that is all I have time for today, and please stay safe and don't hesitate to share what you've learned with others. Thank you for watching. Bye.